Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi. Welcome to another Performance Gear episode, which is actually going to be a Performance Gear quickie on the groundbreaking, revolutionary, game-changing Nike Adapt BB. So I just want to start off by saying I was able to play in these thanks to Jordan Brand as they had an event during All-Star Weekend in Chicago at the State 23 store. Now, I was only able to play in these for just over an hour on an open court, and this was at the end of the week, meaning it was at its dirtiest point. I also did this after doing a few errands, was given a call and so I had the opportunity to go. So I was still in my jeans, but I put on a shirt I could sweat in. So I wanted to give you some context into the full scope of what I put into this. So this is not saying this is a full performance review, this is a quickie, but I was able to get a lot of info and I think give a full grasp for a lot of people who are either looking to buy the next one or are keeping their eye on for the aftermarket. So hopefully if you're watching this video, you can get everything, I can answer the questions you have, and you have a better grasp at what you're buying. Let's get right into it. All right, starting with the upper and the fit. It's a lot like a Kobe, guys. This is the Kobe AD NXT, not the 360, which we'll get to in a moment, but it fits a lot like most Kobes. And what do I wear in most Kobes? A size 13. So generally I am a 12 wide, I wear a 12.5, which is I would regard as my true size. And a lot of shoes I have to do 13 just because 12.5 is not widely available. So I'm fine with that. I have a lot of 13s. So a 13 in this shoe, ironically, was not that long, which leads me to this does run slightly small. So I would definitely recommend a half size up for most people. If you have a high instep or a wide foot, this did calm some concerns of mine just because I would say this is going to adapt. So Nike did prove me wrong. This is a shoe that's going to fit a lot of people. When the shoe's all the way loose, even if you have a high instep, which I have a moderately high instep, and that's the height of your foot. So putting your foot into a shoe, sometimes you can have an issue. On a shoe like this where you have no tongue, there's only so much space between here and here. So that BB is a little bit difficult to get on depending on your instep. Once in, there's plenty of room and a lockdown is fantastic. If you have a wide foot, if you have a wide forefoot, the knit they used on it I think is very flexible, very giving, and does have a whiff of what the Kobe Nike, the 360 does, where it's a very supportive, a very flexible knit. You're not gonna have any issues. If you have a wide midfoot, and that was my issue, you do have to play around with the tightening mechanism, and I will say there is a fair amount of precision which I really enjoyed. I was able to press the button and it does take a second, so there is a little bit of a lag until you hear that motor kick in. You would press it and literally and give a lot more precision in how it tightens than something like the Jordan 33. The Jordan 33, you had individual clicks where you can pull up on it, but each click, in my opinion, was actually too far apart for it to be a nice, precise fit. What they were able to achieve on the Adapt BB was give a lot more precision. So on my right foot, which is a little bit wider, I was able to loosen that just slightly, and it made a big difference. And same thing on the left foot, I was able to tighten that a little bit more, and it made a difference. And the way it worked with the materials around your foot, similar to how the Kobe 360 was, it had a lot of flex, a lot of stretching where it was able to give where it needed to and give you the support where you needed. I felt on Jordan 33, you had a lot to do a manual tightening. Once you tighten the laces to adjust it, you didn't have to do any of that. It really did just work. And that's what they're advertising, and that's what you're paying your money for it to do. So I will say it does work as far as the fit, what they claim. It is going to be adaptable to a lot of foot types. So color me wrong, as I was a skeptic to that. Kudos and hats off to Nike. They did their job. Now, as far as the design and the materials on it are going to be very similar to the knit used on your Kobe 360, where it's flexible, it's not quite as plasticky, it does give you that similar amount of support, but I wish they could have done more. I wish they would have given us more information on why they chose that material, what they put into developing it, because it doesn't just feel like a normal knit. Same thing with the materials they use. I really wish they put some premium touches on it, adding a little bit of carbon fiber, adding a leather or suede to where you're actually going to touch it. I think they could have put a suede on the heel where that just feels a little premium, put leather or suede or a neoprene, something just where for $350 it has a whiff of, yeah, this is an expensive shoe, it looks it. When you see the shoe in person, if you did not know it tightens itself, if you did not know the background and you're just looking at at the shoe like, oh, that's cool. It looks like it has 2 dots on there. And let's say it's not on, there's no lights. It looks like a $150 shoe. It looks like a $100 shoe. It doesn't look special. You can't look at that shoe on something like the Next Level where you're just like, holy crap, what is that? Like, the design is not shouting out to you. And again, for the money that you're paying, I wish it would have been a little bit more bold and you would use a little more premium touches. I think carbon fiber on the heel would have been a much better job done, as well as some suede touches. And kind of like on the Jordan 33, maybe giving us a window into the motor. I mean, this is something that are very superficial, but for the money you're spending, I think it does go a long way. All right, working our way down to support. It's a Kobe. Guys, the support is actually pretty solid. The heel cup holds you in. The back of the shoe is actually pretty well structured. As far as the materials, it locks and holds you in. It has a very flat, wide base, much like the Why Nots last year, the Why Not 1. So you have a very stable platform. There's no curve. There's no arching like you wouldn't get in the Kyries. So I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this, where it's flexible enough if you're quick, but it's a very stable platform with a lot of support really pulling you in. And the way the lace structure works is very traditional in how laces generally work. The benefit being not only is it pulling you down like a normal lace structure, but it's pulling you back, which is something I think Kobe's have done for a long time. That's something I really enjoyed with this shoe and with the Kobe 8s, where it draws you into the heel. So overall, I think the support is done very well, and I think you're going to enjoy that no matter how much support you're looking or wanting. Alright, so the part that I always wanted to know, the part that no one's really talking about, the cushion. What is the cushion? Nike claims it's Cushlon, so I actually brought with me a Kyrie 4 to test along with the review. It says on some of the reviews they use Lunar. Alright, so is it Lunar? Is it Cushlon? Why didn't Nike use React? It was on my video. Why didn't they use Zoom X? Like, there's so many things they could have done. Now, reading the reviews, they said they went over all the iterations and they did a bunch of tests and they came out with the best cushion they could use for the application. And you know what? They did. But it's not Cushlon. It's not Lunar. It's not React. I know how those feel, and I can describe them to you. I wore the Cushlon that's in the Kyrie 4 next to it, and this felt much more firm. And on jumps, Cushlon, even though it feels firm, even though you feel quick, it absorbs the impact. You don't feel a shock. It's not as plush or soft as React. So it's not React, and React actually, and not talking about the Hyperdunk React, that was a really poor implementation. But what you got on the Kobe 360s, or what you got in the React Running Series, or if you have the Element 55, it's a very plush cushion that when you actually put energy into it, it does give you a nice bounce back. Doesn't feel like that at all. Is it Lunar? Love Lunar. Have a ton of Lunar. I can tell you how Lunar feels. Lunar does have a nice bounce to it, and I would say this is closer to a iteration of Lunar, where it does have a little bit of bounce to it, but it's not quite as soft. This is its own special recipe that Nike didn't know what to give it, and I think marketing really missed the ball on elaborating the materials used in the upper and elaborating the time they spent on what cushioning they used for the shoe. It feels really nice. It's a nice compromise. The closest cushion I can actually compare it to is going to be something like either the injected Phylon used on the Kobe ADs, where you have that little bit of bounce, but it's not quite as bouncy as that, or something like the Dame 5 Bounce, where, and I know I'm using the word bouncy there, the Dame 5 Bounce has a little bit of bounce to it, nice impact protection, it's full length, so it's a nice cushion use. I was really surprised, guys, and I brought with me the LeBron 15s with their super cushion, and I brought with me the Kyrie 4s which have that Cushlon. So I wanted to give it something to test, and it's a cushion that I would be happy to use. I wish they could use this in other shoes, and I wish they would give it a proper name, but it is a legit setup that I think you're going to be happy at spending $350, that Nike put a lot of time, money, and research into making sure the cushion setup is just right. All right, down to the traction. So Nike actually said they improved traction by 40%. I love that sentence because they improved by 40% to what? The previous HyperAdapt, to the prior Kobe, for what player, for what court. But all I can tell you is this: after that court has been playing on for 5 days with maybe a little bit of maintenance, the traction was just above bad. Now, Jordan Brand didn't make a point saying they put a new court, whether that's new hardwood or new waxing, every time they have an event. So it's not like they don't upkeep it. But this is 5 days in. This is with a lot of players coming in and out. And the traction, just to give you an idea, so I did a few drills. I was able to rub it up and on the court, and I was able to play one-on-one with one of my friends. And on the one-on-one, just to give you an idea, I would have the ball, do a move, score, I won 7-1, come back, wipe the shoes. I would do a move, shoot, miss the basket, play defense. Wipe shoes next possession. Once I played defense, stole the ball. So it was something I would wipe every play. Now I went to a cleaner section of the court, and here's the cliche you guys want to hear. Works well on a clean court. Every shoe does. I hate that. So now when it was clean, it bit hard, but I think every shoe has that. And it's disappointing because Nike has some really nice traction setups. The circular setups they're using on their Why Not 2 and the PG3 work amazing. They could have gone with that route. That blade setup they have on the LeBron 16 and the LeBron Soldier 12 works incredible. So the traction setup they did with this, it is really shallow. This is not something I see lasting long. For $350, I thought they would have done something a little more beefy. All that being said, the traction was kind of a letdown. This is not something that I think is going to work great if you're on your traditional 24-hour courts where you're just trying to play. If you're going to spend $350, you're not going to have a traction setup that's going to be as good as what you possibly hope for. So that being said, it wasn't as bad of an experience as I got in the Kyrie 5, and once I did wipe, it bit hard, so it works on a clean court, but it just was not what I was expecting. All right, overall, I know I went over the kind of cushion it used, but I didn't touch on the problem I had. When on the balls of your feet, you're playing, the cushion felt great. On your heels, you land, absorbs the impact, felt great. I did some full court sprints, and that heel to toe, I definitely felt the middle part of the foot where you have the electronics, you have the motor, where it's very stiff, you have it acts as the torsional plate, but at the same time, it's very hard. Nike could have done a much better job putting a proper insole to protect your foot, but from heel to toe, right in the middle of the foot, right before the balls of my feet, I felt it. Like, it felt firm. Like, if you didn't land right, if you didn't push off right, I felt it hard. Now, whether that's because I have sensitive feet, whether that's because I'm 245 pounds, I can't tell you, but I can tell you it's not as smooth as it could be. Now, there's only so much Nike can do. They can make the motor smaller eventually and the electronics smaller, just as any electronics in the industry. Everything is going to get tinier. But I also feel that they can put some layer of cushion on top of it, whether that's a layer of Zoom Air, whether that's an insole with a foam on top, or with a lunar insole or React. They can do something to cover that to make that transition a little bit smoother. Now, if you're a sneakerhead, if you play basketball in any way, this is a shoe you want to try. After I left, I played there for almost an hour and a half, I felt like I just got off a ride. Like, it is awesome. It's almost like going to a theme park. You waited in line, you got on the ride, you went around, you blah, 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 you had a great time. These shoes felt like that. You put them on, you're able to tighten it down, press the button, you take them onto it. It is an experience that is awesome, and I am grateful to have. Hopefully I can share some of that with you. There is some on-court footage that you guys saw throughout the video here. Don't tear me up. I'm on jeans, I'm a big guy. Hopefully this is the first on-court footage I had, but just to give you guys an idea, I wish any one of you guys can try the shoe. If you have to spend $350 and then return it just to get that experience, it might be worth that, but honestly, I cannot say, and man, this is ruining, I guess, burning bridges with Nike, that, man, you guys got to get this. You got to try it. This is an awesome shoe. On a clean court, it's great. The cushion felt great, but you can get this same setup in the Kobe AD. You can get this same setup, and I would say a better shoe in the Dame 5. You can get a lot of what this shoe is offering and not spend $350. For that kind of money, just to give you guys an idea, you have the $175 Jordan 33. You have the $180 Next Level, both of which are going to give you better traction, similar cushioning actually on the Next Level, surprisingly, and honestly, I would say I would recommend Almost Over It, and I can do a comparison in the next video. But for that same $350, for all the hoopers out there, for all the guys who want to try it out, can I recommend something? And it's the Hypervolt. Which is funny, not the HyperAdapt, the Hypervolt. This is a percussion instrument where it actually loosens your muscles. Let me turn it on for you guys here. I just did chest day yesterday too. Where, oh man, that feels great. This is not a plug. I'm not getting paid by them, but this machine for $350, whether you're young, whether you're old, makes a huge difference in performance. And for that same money, this is so much worth it. Something like this used to be $1,500. They used to be really loud. they used to have a lot of negatives to us. This is battery powered, has different instruments, and you've probably seen this being used on LeBron, being used on professional athletes, where, man, that's some advanced tool. No, it's available to anybody. And this same tool is something you can use literally every day and will absolutely improve your performance, just allowing you to get back on the court faster, loosen up faster, warm up, cool down. For that same money, for $350, are you kidding me? In addition, I would actually recommend to a lot of our hoopers out there, get a weightlifting shoe. This is a Romalejo 3. Most weightlifting shoes cost $200, but honestly, a lot of them go on sale for closer to $150 to $120. So it's not something where you have to spend a lot of money, where you can spend $140 in a proper basketball shoe and get something that is going to last you, I'm not going to say for life, but most weightlifting shoes will last you 10, 20 years. Where something like this, improving your squat, improving your lifts, is going to help you be a better player, is going to reduce your risk of injury. That is a lot better money being spent than $350 on a shoe that is admittedly really cool. Admittedly might be the next generation of basketball shoes. But honestly, from what I've seen on the next level, where this is laceless, motorless, and still engineering marvel, where you play it and wearing it and you're just put back, I can't tell you $350 is worth that money. So guys, if I can answer any questions, put them in the comments below. I do try to answer everybody. If you like that video, please give it a thumbs up. Had a really good time playing this shoe, and I can't recommend enough to anyone who wants to get it and try it and play it. It is worth that. And if $350 is nothing to you, you're like, hey, it doesn't matter. It's still a good shoe. And it's as good as some of the really good shoes out there, like your $115 Dame, your $140 Kobe AD. There's other shoes that are going to play as good, if not better. So do with what you want with your money. If I can help in any way, let me know. Really appreciate you guys. I will do a full comparison video for you so you guys can get an idea, although I'm going to do that comparison based on my experience and based on what I own, not based on having them hand in hand. I'll have future videos coming out soon. Put that bell below. And as always, I really appreciate you guys. I'll come at you later.